Hello and welcome to the Valley today. I am your host, Janet Michael. We are on the Zooms today with Olivia Hilton. She is the town manager for the town of Mount Jackson. Although as we're recording, she's sitting in her car in Harrisonburg about to go to a class. So you are quite the traveler, aren't you, Olivia?
I am. I saw Greg, or we were on a Zoom earlier, and I just said we're ships in the night. And the person on the call was like, is it class or is it personal, professional? I was like, it's all of the things. We're road warriors.
I'm just grateful that you are making time for me to fill in for a last minute bailout. So I never worry about you saying no. And look at you. I can do it from the car for these 20 minutes. And I'm like, okay, I can make that work.
Yeah, I'll be here for you. Now, does this mean in a couple of years when I graduate, you have to call me doctor when I'm on the show?
I will 100% do that.
And the whole year before, you have to say soon to be doctor, since that's our theme.
Not to bring up bad memories, but you mean like when I used to say interim, why isn't she already from that other place that you used to work?
I'm always fighting with a berg.
You are. One of the things we're going to talk about today is the Mount Jackson 5. So anyone who has heard us talk in the past know that you have done this once. We went through this last year. Some very successful businesses have come out of the first round of the Mount Jackson 5. They're all open. They're all doing really, really cool, fun things.
They are. We had 4 open, and that was who was awarded funding. So between the 4, we gave out $60,000 in grant funding, so not the kind you have to pay back, which is glorious. They've all opened. Tater Fest, which I know we'll talk about here in a little bit, all of them have an activity. They're all joining in. So they're all, engaged with the community, community-based. I couldn't be more proud. It makes me teary-eyed, which is so cheesy, but to see people bring their small business dreams to life, honestly, as a locality, sure, we did a lot of the staff time and the boot camp and pulling in facilitators like you that know what they're doing, since they call you the expert, marketing expert, which you are. But it took effort, but then it's to actually see the reward of it, and it's their work that continues it. So it's just about recruiting, doing a little bit for retention, and then letting them fly. So it's a beautiful little thing.
They have all opened. The
Mhm.
new crop of Mount Jackson 5 businesses started last week as people are listening. And I came in early because I wanted to see, particularly Valley Trail Bike and Run, because I had only been in their shop when they were still getting it set up. They weren't ready to open at that point. And I get you because I walked in the door and there are running shoes and there are bikes and there are all these things. And I'm looking around going, oh my gosh, this is the exact vision that you wanted it
Mhm.
to be. And now it's here. I felt just as proud as you. I'm like, I played a
Mhm.
teeny tiny little role in this, but this is awesome.
It is. It's special. And you grilled them and they passed their marketing pop quiz with you.
Yes, I did. All of a sudden, I started rolling out. Okay, have you done this? And what about this? And are you doing that? And he was checking all the boxes. Very proud of you, Trey.
I love it. Little Trey's come so far. He's a grown man. But yes, so the previous cohort knocked us away and knocked away DHCD. So the Department of Housing and Community Development with the state is who funds our Mount Jackson 5 grant, and they awarded us $50,000 last year. This year they increased it to $75,000. There is still a matching piece from the town. They put in 75, we put in about 37. The more money you give, a little bit more percentage you give in. And so we have 112,000 to do the cohort this year, which includes the staff, the facilitators, the grant money, which is the biggest piece, is how much we're actually giving away. And then we're bringing our incubator space to life. So yeah, it's a 2-parter this year. And you like how we do it one time and we're like, let's change the whole model and try a different so we were like, how do we make it more complicated? So we have probably 8 or so businesses that are taking part in the boot camp. So our Mount Jackson 5-ish is what we really should call the program. But probably 3 to 4 of them are brick and mortar, so their own space. And so the reason we expanded it to more businesses this year is because in the incubator space, which we're going to be calling the nest, there are about 4 or 5 businesses that will be going into a shared space. So it's a little bit different model wise than last year. And so those that are having their own space will be awarded more grant funding once they open in Mount Jackson. And that's the key. It's always once people open, that's how we can monitor it and make sure it's not paying for someone's Fiji vacation. We have to see them cut that ribbon and then we give them their check. But yeah, so it's nice. So this year we have a good blend.
It is a good example of how you learn when you do these types of things from year to year, because
Mhm.
there were several businesses that wanted to participate last year but knew they were not at the end of that boot camp going to be in a position to have their own brick and mortar. So this year, adding that nest component is going to be hugely beneficial because they're not going to stay there forever either, but it's
Mhm.
going to get their feet under them so that they can then move into a brick and mortar and be a full-fledged Mount Jackson business.
Absolutely. That was a huge piece of what we learned last year. One that we learned is that we really liked the collaborative rather than competitive. So we're keeping the family dinners this year. Everyone that participates in the boot camp, goes through and opens, will receive money. So again, it's not where they're feeling like, oh, if I don't get it, they get it, that competitive piece. So we learned that, we kept that. The other one was definitely that people were at different levels of their entrepreneurial journey. So some people are ready to take a leap. Others have to keep their full time job for their health insurance, or they have children that they're taking care of, or they're going to school. And so, how can we tie in where they are now into where they'd like to go, or how do we just open that door? So that's definitely how the nest kind of evolved. Was really the Chosen Sisters who did the boot camp last year because they thought that they could open a brick and mortar, and then they've steered now more towards pop ups. So it was like, how do we find that middle ground so we don't lose these entrepreneurs to another town, to just fizzling away? So we're going to see how it works. But yeah, ultimately, people will have about 2 years to stay there and then they'll fly the nest. It's a dream. And to be completely honest, we know some people in some form or fashion will fail. And that's okay. The biggest thing that Greg and I keep saying is all it's doing is being a catalyst for downtown economic development and that tourism piece. Having a business open, and if it closes in the next year, I'm sure there's someone who's looked at it and thought, oh, I love that space, or oh, I could see me doing this in that space. It just kicks off our economic development dreams. I knew we would open with our original Mal Jackson 5 crew, but it was more successful than we thought it would be. In that sense, we were like, if we get 2 to open, we'll be so excited. So to have all 4, we were like, yeah. And so I think that's been another learning point of, if anything, it's just getting things rolling. It's getting people to look at Mount Jackson and think, I could open my business here. And so ideally they will. And we keep having people coming to us, asking us and wanting to open. And so we have another full cohort, which again is beautifully surprising.
The other thing that you have that also lends itself to the success of this program is you have building owners who are
Mhm.
willing to say, hey, I can build out a space. Hey, I can take a cut maybe on the rent for the first year. Hey, I've got this building and I've always wanted to do something to it and it's been empty for a while, but I would love to partner with you for this program and put a new business in there. You've got a lot of these building owners and small businesses and large businesses in Mount Jackson that are partnering with you on that side.
That has been a huge key to this, definitely. So, 2 of our businesses went into one building, which is our Stonewall Professional Center. Greg Nelson owns it, and he was phenomenal to work with the original cohort. Jillian wanted a chairlift to the second story, and then she wanted this wall gone, and he did all the things, which is amazing. And that was part of the shtick of her going and renting there. And then Wild Child landed in Crew. And Hero's Journey is with a really sweet older couple that's had their building for years. And I'd connected with them and it had been vacant. And since then, now Anthony, one of the Hero's Journey owners, he also has experience with like construction and some other things. So he's been like doing handyman stuff for them on other parts of the building. And so, yeah, something about making that connection. You saw it firsthand last week when somebody said, where can I put my business? And it's like, okay, a normal person might look out and see 1 or 2 vacancies. But then on the other end, Greg and I would know who wants to sell their building, who's going to be moving to a bigger office somewhere, where the places we can nook in, who might want to collaborate and have somebody take the front of their building. And that's how we got the old print shop. So the nest is going to be for those that are local to Mount Jackson. And unfortunately, I don't know the address and I always fumble it. I just say next to search, which is what I'm going to keep saying. Um, and it was a hardware store for years. Then it became a print shop, and then that became very like antiquated pieces in there. And so it's been vacant for decades. We reached out to the building owner, and he was like, I don't have time for it. I'm overwhelmed. And so part of our agreement with him is that we'll help fix it up. So we're going to be painting inside and fixing the electrical and doing some things. And he's having some buy-in too. So not only are we helping businesses find brick and mortars, but the town is literally renting a brick and mortar to advocate for an incubator space, economic development. It's just space for retail. It just takes a little teamwork. So I think the site inventory is huge. It can be overwhelming when you're just somebody who's looking for a space. So it's nice that Greg and I kind of have a pulse for the most part. There's plenty of little nooks that we still are trying to figure out, but a pretty good pulse. And the county, we partnered last year so that all of our websites ideally have a site inventory on them. We try to keep it current. So if you were just looking around and wanting a space, you could go to the Mount Jackson website and see a site inventory of commercial spaces that are available currently. But then we have to keep up with them. That's kind of tricky too.
The other piece of this that you've mentioned a couple of times, and this was more the piece that I was involved in, is that boot camp. Because, like you mentioned earlier, these businesses are all in different stages. Some of them maybe had businesses before, some maybe have Etsy shops or are running a business from their house, and some just have the idea. And this boot camp really gives them an education on finances, on legal stuff. I do the marketing thing. It gives them all of that other stuff that they may not necessarily know.
Oh yeah, that's key. So we started it last week. It's 8 weeks. Ideally they have to come each week. It's a few hours. We do feed them. We try to arrange for childcare if they need it. Try to take all of those barriers away for starting a business. And we bring in experts because no one wants to hear me and Greg talk at them every night on Wednesday for 8 weeks. And so of course, yeah, you're the marketing guru. It's all the nuts and bolts, all the things. Another thing that we did evolve from last year is the original cohort said they wanted more support from the Mount Jackson side. So we made a whole day this boot camp of how do I get a sign? What's a zoning permit? How big can my fence be? So that was a missed mark for sure last year. And we've individually walked them through all of that at this point. But yeah, that would have saved quite a few steps. So we have our chief of police is going to go and he's going to talk about like how do I keep my building safe and what kind of cameras. The director of finance will talk about what is meals tax and that kind of thing, which I tried to describe to a lady today and I think I butchered. That's why I have a little cheat sheet I like to give out. So bringing in the other people who know what they're talking about is key. And then included in the 8 weeks, though, towards the end is a panel night. So we have current and former business owners do like a question and answer. And I think we've locked in Sue again from Clementine Vintage.
Yay.
Yes, and I believe John Henry is going to be with us again from Newmarket. And I'm a terrible person for not remembering the third one, but there are 3 panel members that join us. And then the final night is pitch night, where they have to pitch on 3 pieces, which is a marketing campaign, a business plan, and a funding request. And then the judges that are external will rank that and help us decide who gets what kind of funding.
And then, much like we did last year, throughout the course of the next 8 weeks to 3 months, 4 months, we'll be doing radio shows with them, introducing them to everybody, talking about their business. It's a pretty eclectic mix. There are some that are related that immediately last week you could see they're going to work together on stuff. And then there are some that are just so unique and unusual that they're really going to make a splash the minute that they open.
Yeah, we keep getting creative groups, which is perfect because I made that joke and I'll make it again at the risk of judgment from the crowd here. But we thought we would get a bunch of antique shops. And there's always a good space for an antique shop or 2. But initially we were like, okay, we're going to get 8 of the same business or 5 of the same business. And everyone is so different now both times. So that's cool. And especially this year, I'm excited that there's some more artistic pieces to it, some more kind of hand done products, which I think is, again, just different from that first group. Keeps it interesting.
Let's take a break. When we come back, will you give me all the details for Tater Fest? It's happening on the 27th. And again, something else you started last year that is going to be bigger and better this year. Can we talk about it next?
It's my favorite thing to talk about.
We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to continue our conversation with Olivia Hilton. She is the town manager for the town of Mount Jackson. Tater Fest, again, is happening Saturday, September 27th, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. at Lions Park. She's going to give us details about all the cool, fun things that are happening that day when we come back in just a couple of minutes. In just one day, you can help shape a stronger, more connected community. On September 19th, United Way of Northern Shenandoah Valley will lead Day of Caring, the region's largest single-day volunteer event. Over 900 volunteers will roll up their sleeves to help local nonprofits with projects that matter. Painting classrooms, repairing shelters, planting gardens, organizing food pantries. Whether you're a business looking to sponsor, a nonprofit in need of an extra set of hands, or a neighbor ready to serve, there's a place for you on Day of Caring. This is what community looks like when we come together. This is care in action. Learn how to get involved at unitedwaynsv.org/dayofcaring or email dayofcaring@unitedwaynsv.org. One day, hundreds of hands, lasting impact. Join us. Welcome back to the Valley today. I am your host, Janet Michael. We are on the Zooms today with Olivia Hilton. She is town manager for the town of Mount Jackson. In the first segment, we talked a bit about the Mount Jackson 5. It is an incubator / community business launch. She managed to get even more money from the Department of Housing and Community Development this year. So there are going to be more participants and potentially more money that they're going to be able to have to start their business right there in Mount Jackson. But Olivia, I want to talk for a minute about Tater Fest. And I would be remiss if I did not, as I do every time we've talked about this, apologize to you for making fun of you taking this job and doing a potato festival, because you have taken Tater Fest and made me eat my own words, literally.
People will always like quirky. I stand by that. And everyone likes carbs. We did have one lady on Facebook said, "Are you going to do any events that don't have carbs?" And I was like, "You can go to the library.
That,
There's probably a book sale."
yeah. Isn't there a couch potato section? You don't use or eat any carbs by sitting on the couch potatoes.
Yeah, you can just sit. Yeah, I was like, I hope she's joking. He doesn't know how to portray that through Facebook. It's like, who hates on carbs?
But this was literally an event that you thought would be fun and quirky to do. And lo and behold, you had over 3,000 people show up to participate in it.
And we're more prepared for that this year. We have bush hogged the field. Last year, the poor guys, we ended up having 6 parking attendants and we're rolling through it. A lot of people were like, there was poison ivy in the field, and we were not prepared. So I'm like, okay, this year we've mowed it down. We're good to go. But yes, it's a little longer. We recognize that the day is busy and there are lots of things going on. We have our Fall Fest in Newmarket. We've got Woodstock in Woodstock, and then other random things booping around. But we made it longer. So really, if you felt like having a physically and emotionally full day, you could eat your way through Shenandoah County. So 10 to 5, technically 8 a.m. to 5 if you're going to run the Couch Potato 5K, which I will not be doing.
No, that offsets those carbs. I will give you
that's
that.
what she needs to do is, you're right, I got to go back and say it's a 5K. So we have it early in the morning because it's actually going to be starting at the park but ending at Town Hall. And then those folks will end about 9:30, a little bit before the festival starts. We'll actually have Search doing a potato breakfast for them, and then they take a hayride back to the park. So it's very cute. So that's our 5K plan. And then the festival itself kicks off at 10 with all the things. So we have, I like how I immediately went to go say Woodstock Brew House, like 10 a.m. Brew House, Wolfgat. But you've got your wine and beer. We've had 5 or 6 food options this year. We have added a few different ones. And apparently, like, the FFA kids make curly fries. So we had to
Oh,
give them a shot. I know. I was like, okay. But I think it's the smell of the curly fries frying up. We've had a couple people reach out. They just want to join in. So we're like, bring on the curly fries. We've got a pretty expansive vendor list. So we're not the craft vendor kind of festival. If you want that, hit the Fall Fest in Newmarket. We steered more towards agriculture, working with the Newmarket leadership of how can we differentiate, how can we make sure we're complementing each other and not competing. And so we have, like, John Henry has a farm truck there. We've got the Gourds, the Virginia Gourd Society. We've got Pappy and Grammy's Pumpkin Farm, who dropped me off a t-shirt at work. So I have a little t-shirt I need to take with their wagon. So yeah, we went all in on ag. We've got the FFA doing their soil pit, but then we also tied in a lot of local businesses. So like Tasha with the Rooted Beauty Collective is going to do mud masks and like fairy hair. Wild Child's doing face painting. We've got a guy doing remember that he's like amazing at the balloon animals.
yes.
Balloon animal kid is back. It's wild. I can't. He just did the Titanic on his Facebook page out of balloons. No, it's crazy.
Yes.
So we've got a lady, you can make your own charcuterie. Valley and Vine. Very
And
exciting.
one of the participants in this crop of Mount Jackson 5 is going to be the new tattoo parlor, and he's going to do what was it you were calling them?
Tater tats. So we're going to start with the nice water-based fake tattoos this year, but next year I think you should just saddle on up, sit on a hay bale and get yourself a tater tat.
I don't know that I want to know anyone who has a potato tattoo.
We should just use potato tats, and then this year we did add spudsers, so you could be get a spudsership. So it's a
Oh,
sponsor. It's a bit of a stretch. And then Greg named them all very cute things like the mashed potato maestro and the tater tot titan and all this stuff. So we had quite a few either barter with items. So like the Mount Jackson Farm Supply is giving us panels for our cow pie bingo, and the tickets go on sale this week.
Yeah, so talk about that for a minute because you explained
Yeah.
that to me last week, and I'm still not sure I can wrap my head around what that is exactly.
Oh yeah, and I've confirmed my cows. So now I have a cow guy named Wade, and he's bringing his Highland cow and her little calf. And what it is, okay, so at the corner market this week, the tickets will go on sale. It's $10 a square. We're only selling 100, which is pretty good odds. So at the end of the day, we'd make 1,000. So 100 squares, you buy your square, and then we'll have it painted on the ground. And so we will release the cows, and wherever Mama Cow takes a poop, you win $500 if she poops in your 3 by 3 foot square. And if her little calf also hits your square, that's a bonus $50. So we've got $550 going to the winners, and then we have some money going to the corner market between the town and the FFA. So we'll be splitting the rest. But yeah, it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be amazing. I don't know. Mom already bought 2 tickets. She's my first buyer.
This is definitely one of those where anyone who has given you grief and thought that Tater Fest was a ridiculous idea and
Hmm.
how much more crazy could you get, this is a hold my beer moment where you're like, oh,
Yeah.
but wait, we're going to do cow patty bingo.
Oh yeah. But like, wait, there's more. I am obsessed. I hope it goes well, and the cows will come early. So if all you just want to do is see a cute cow, then we're good.
And Highland cows are
Um,
cool. They're like, oh, they're trending right
They're all
now.
the rage. Trendy cows right now. He literally called and was like, I have to check. I think she has a wedding the next weekend. So like the cow has her social calendar booked. I'm like, okay, ma'am. Hopefully you can squeeze in taking a poop here at the Tater Fest.
Also have live music too, right?
Live music, and I'm biased. It's my brother's band, but he comes through when I need him to. So the Alex Hilton band will be playing. They have a trio this year, and they're playing longer, and they're modern country. So for as left-brained as anal as I am, is how right-brained he is. So he's a beautiful musician, speaks Spanish, very creative. And so yeah, he's retired from Nashville and he's home, and so he'll be gracing our stage, or it's actually a trailer hayride, but same thing. So yeah, so they'll be playing all day and then playing DJ in between and then emceeing the programs because there's 2 stages. You've got your main music stage, and the secondary stage is where we're gonna have Granny's tater salad contest. We've got a new mashed potato sculpting, French fry eating contest, and of course the Little Miss Sweet Potato Mr. Spud Muffin pageant. And we have best costumes added this year, and we are still accepting people to sign up. So you can sign up pretty much the day or two before, and it's just through there's some Google Docs on the Facebook page. You can sign up for the Granny's tater salad, which is where you make a pint of tater salad, and we took people's recommendations, and this year we're actually selling 20 taster tickets. So if you paid $5, you actually get a little Dixie cup of each of the Grannies that are entered, and then you guys get to do a people's choice. There's an angry mob last year about this.
They wanted their tater salad.
I just love it. I don't know. I love the day. It's always going to be the last Saturday. That way it doesn't butt up against Old Timers Festival. It's in Lions Park.
It's free. You don't have to pay an
It's
admission fee. There's
free.
no fee to
Yeah.
park, none of that.
Nope. Free hay rides. Free all the things. The face painting's free. We even have a little barrel train guy that drives around, and the Randy's Hardware does their catapult launch. We have these guys that are coming through town on their bachelor party, and they've signed up to do a catapult. And apparently they're like engineers and all this stuff. So it's just goofy. It's not. Don't take us too seriously. That's the key.
So, where can people go get more information and share it with their friends so they can get a group to come?
Facebook is number one, numero uno. We have a Facebook event, and then Town of Mount Jackson. Just follow us so you see all the things. We do have our website, mountjackson.com. We've been putting it on there. And I think any day too, it should be popping out. I think it's in the Courier, the Daily, all the things. So you hopefully step outside and you'll just smell a light air of potato coming from the southern end of Shenandoah County.
Yeah, stop when you get to Mount Jackson because you have found the taters.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And naturally, we do have to mention Route 11 chips, which was the inspiration. They'll be there. And I think they're doing the human, I don't love the name. We need to work on it, but like a human slot machine. But what that means is like when they stay in their little squares and like 3 people will hold up a bag of Route 11 chips. And if the 3 bags of chips match, you get the chips. So if that makes sense. So they're like a little fake casino game if you get 3 bananas. So it's humans, and if you get 3 chips, you get their Rattle 11 chips.
And
So they're
Yukon
jungle
Golds are
chips.
out. They are only out for a short period of time, but they are out right
Yes.
now.
They are. And I need everyone out there to give Route 11 pressure this year and say next year they want a commemorative Tater Fest packaging chip bag. That's our dream. We just got to keep pressuring them. I know. I am too. And
yes,
it could be orange. It should be. That's our color.
I am working on getting her on a show in the next couple of weeks. So I may have to do a little, I'll do a little lobbying for that myself.
I love it. I love it. But yeah, that's all the things for Tater Fest. Just come on down to Tater Town.
Well, you go get to class. Thank you for taking the time today. I do appreciate it.
Oh, look, I got 7 minutes to class. That's going to go against my reputation. I should be late. I'll sit in the car.
That's true. You got to sit in the car for at least 6 more minutes.
At least 6 minutes. Yeah, I got to make I got to run on adrenaline. No, thank you so much, Shannon. As always, we'll catch you on the other side.
I will be back tomorrow with a brand new episode of The Valley Today, a few minutes after noon. So meet me here then.